I thought it was the old Meatworks, actually.
Oh, really?
Trying to work out how to get inside. No, it's pretty good stuff. We're very excited, actually.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so of all these nominations, which ones do you actually feel most confident about?
I would actually like To the Moon and Back to win Best Pop Song. I would really love that song to come through and win it. It's up against Truly Madly. It's not one of our songs. So, you know, I'm hoping that To the Moon and Back wins an award because it was a turning point for this record and for the early stages of Savage Garden's career because it took this band away from, you know, the possible one-hit wonder dance pop song of I Want You. So I hope it comes through.
Are you looking at that for best pop song or for? How about for the best video? I mean, you got a couple of nominations for that as well.
I think we did, although our favourite one's not in there. We like Break Me at the moment because it's just the newest one. We always get bored with everything that's been done before. But,
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, Break Me, Shake Me actually didn't make it to #1. We're a bit shattered about that.
Actually, we knew.
Anyway.
I think what it did, it's our fourth single. I mean, it kept the album at #1. Do you know what I mean? I think you get to a point in your career where we didn't even expect Truly to be a hit. We thought that people would basically say, okay, they've had I Want You, they've had To the Moon and Back. I really like this song, Truly Madly Deeply. I'm going to buy the album. And they kept buying the album and the single. And I think that's what happened with Break Me. It got into the top 10 and the album stayed at #1. I think people are understanding that this is an album full of songs that they might like. So.
In Australia, it's so common that everyone has the tall poppy syndrome, you know, that they're going to cut down people that are successful. It hasn't happened with you guys. You guys are still like right up there in the charts, competing against the Hansons of the world and Tina Arena, all that kind of thing. Yeah. You must be pretty happy about the way the Australian audience has stuck to you.
I think the Australian audience has definitely changed recently. We did have that thing. Poppy syndrome, and I'm to blame as well, being somebody of a fan of Australian bands that would go off and be successful overseas. You sort of go, oh, have they abandoned us or what? And it's confusing for the Australian audience because we don't have a huge music industry ourselves. I mean, it's growing, and when you lose one, you feel like you've lost a child, so you want to try and hold on to it. But we've come good. I mean, Australia should be really proud because last year, 6 months ago in America, there was 5 or 6 Australian acts hogging positions in the top 40 in the American Billboard charts, and that's something to be
I think we're really changing, and I think that we're proud of ourselves. You know, we used to have this cultural cringe where we didn't think we were quite good enough, and now I think that we think, yeah, we can go out there and we can make music that stands up. We should all be proud.
Do you think that has a lot to do with the changing styles of music these days? A lot of electronic side going into rock music. For example, you have DJs like Moby experimenting with rock, and you have bands like the Tea Party that are getting into like the electronic side of things. Do you think that opens up the avenues for Australian bands to be more individual?
I think it does. I mean, I think Australia had a very traditional rock sound for a while there. It's something to do with the acoustic guitar. The way Australian bands strum the acoustic guitar gives it that distinctive sound, and I think we've moved away from that into technology like the rest of the world here, and I think that's why we are starting to fit in places throughout the world's music.
A lot of people have said the secret of your success is that you have a very European sound. Do you take offence to that? Would you rather just say, bugger it, we're Australian?
We have a world sound, Joe. I mean, it's part of that thing that we never ever felt limited by our culture. We feel very proud of our culture, and so we basically, this country gave us the confidence to step forward into the world arena and say, okay, I look around the world and I see all these songs that I love, and I'm going to take bits and pieces of those, take them on board and write my own songs. And I think that's what people hear, because we aren't using the acoustic guitar, because we're not singing with an obvious accent or talking about, you know, didgeridoos, then basically we don't sound too Australian. But I don't take offence at it, but I feel very Australian. And when I'm in America or when I'm in Europe or wherever, I carry this country on my shoulders very proudly, and I think that all the artists that are succeeding internationally at the moment are doing so much for this country. It's the best thing that's ever happened for the tourism industry, actually, because the music is sounding great and it's competing, and no one's doing us any favours. In America, it is so competitive, and you don't get a hit single just because someone thinks it's interesting that you came from Australia. It's because Australians are making good music, and you should remember that.
Yep. So looking at the ARIAs, you could really say that they're the 3rd biggest music awards in the world now. I mean, Australia has always been right up there as far as producing original music. Looking at the ARIAs, would you say that these awards are going to create more attention than ever?
Like they do every year, I guess, and it keeps growing. I think the awards are a great thing to be nominated by your peers, to recognition for somewhat of an achievement. And, you know, we could go very cynical and say, oh, awards aren't cool or whatnot. We actually kind of think they are, so you know, we're quite proud.
I think the really interesting thing about Australia, I don't think a lot of Australians realise that, but when we were in America last, you had Mel Bainbridge, you had Silverchair, you had us, Gina G had a hit there. how many other artists from Norway, or from Sweden, or from Paris, or from England even, have that many songs in the American top 40? We're actually doing really well internationally, and you're probably right. I think this year we'll receive a lot of international attention because of the calibre of the acts. You know, I'm still waiting for Powderfinger to kick butt internationally because I just think they're one of the best bands in the world, actually.
Okay. Did you know that you may be up for a record 14th award? I mean, you probably get 13. But did you know that there's a Channel V viewers poll as well?
Oh, is it really?
Right up there and
Okay.
there.
That's
So-
pretty cool. Great.
I was just wondering, what do you reckon? How do you reckon you're going there? I mean, of course you're going to say
Who
no.
knows? Depends how nice we are to you guys, right? Depends if they let us into this building.
The very last question, have you guys heard yourselves making King Machine yet, or in the supermarket? Because you know you've made it. when you're
Actually,
up
we haven't yet, but we did frequent a karaoke bar in Japan. We had a great time. Danny and I did a cracking rendition of You've Lost That Loving Feeling, serenading our beautiful backing singers. But no, we're waiting to hear I Want You.
I have heard it in the Odd Woolies or Coles. Pretty much.
there. Okay, well, we're going to go to Break Me, Shake Me, and then we're off to the second half of the interview.
Cool.
Thanks.